Hi, thank you for stopping by for some adult learning basics. My goal is to share some high-level ideas about adult learning to help you with whatever it is you're working on, a learning strategy, curriculum design, lesson planning, whatever it might be. For some of you, this will be review. If you've taken a class from me before, you may have heard some of these ideas. Whether this is review or not, however, I hope you can refresh your thinking about these adult learning principles and how they relate to your program. When I say learning, I take it as a word for shorthand for whatever it takes to transform an individual from where they are now to where they want to be and you need them to be to succeed. Just take 10 seconds to read what's on this slide and think about how it connects to what you're working on. I'll wait. Learning is shorthand for whatever it takes. So let's dive into some of these principles. The first thing to remember is that learners learn. That sounds so obvious. Of course, learners learn. However, so often we think about ourselves. All the information I have to impart, our subject matter experts, and this vast content that we have to share. And sometimes we forget that it's the learner who needs to absorb this information and then do something with it. So we really need to start our thinking with the person that we are teaching, the people that we are hoping to move to action. The second idea here is that learners learn for 5 main reasons. They learn for a reason. Most adults learn for a reason. They're not learning just because something is interesting. They're learning for the first time. They're adding to their existing knowledge. They're trying to apply what they've learned. Ooh, something went wrong and they need to fix it. Or things have changed and they need to catch up what they know. It's helpful to think about your people and why are they learning? And once you figure out why they are learning, you can better design the intervention or whatever it is, the program that you're trying to bring to them. The third point is that learners need to learn just the right level of information. So consider this the Goldilocks principle, that if you give them too little, they don't know how to make sense of that. So there's one piece of research that says that subject matter experts leave out 70% of the information people actually need to move forward. 70%, that's a lot of information. Now, if you give too much information, you have that other thing, cognitive overload. Boom, your head is blowing up with information and you don't retain any of it. So you want to get to the place where it's just the right level of information. The fourth idea is what learners know will determine what they can learn. So consider each dot here is knowledge or skill. And people who are beginners in the topic that you're talking about, there aren't that many dots. There isn't that much scaffolding or networking to hook those dots onto as you bring new information to them. On the other hand, experts have lots of dots, lots of connections. They see the context, they see the network, they see the associations between information. They see the cause and effect or the hierarchies. They get all that because they're more expert in that knowledge. We need to build those bridges, build those connections, offer those hierarchies because beginners in topics don't have that naturally built in. Now that's particularly important as we think about forgetting, and I love sharing this forgetting curve that invites us to think about how we can continue learning after a class or a curriculum or whatever happens. So rather than have that thing happen and then whoop, they forget everything they learned, how do we take that end of our formal connection to them, the class ends, and keep the learning going so that forgetting doesn't happen. The fifth idea here is learners don't have styles. We've heard so much about learning styles, and that's all been disproven. That learners might have preferences, but they don't have styles. And studies don't bear out that if you think you're an auditory learner, that everything needs to be told to you verbally. That hasn't played out. Now, this is a huge opportunity. This means that we have all these tools in our toolbox to pull from. We have the visual and the auditory and the kinesthetic and the visual and all of that, and we can pull it together. And actually, research tells us how to pull it together in order to create a full body experience for the people that we're teaching. So we don't have to have a kinesthetic way of teaching something and an auditory way of teaching something. That doesn't work. We bring all of those ideas together for really powerful learning experiences. The last idea I want to share from you is that when we talk about learning, we're not just talking about adult learning in its cognitive state. We're talking about psychology and behavioral economics and all of those bodies of research that we can draw from to create learning experiences that help people to take action. Ultimately, we want them to do something differently because of whatever experience we have touched them with. So there's all this research in behavioral economics around how do you nudge people to do what we want them to do. And these are great little pieces for us to bring into our learning program so that people are, again, able to take action on what we need them to do. We now bring it all together with these learning principles that form the bridge that we walk on, whether we are creating a curriculum, teaching a class, building a learning strategy, it doesn't matter. Let's draw on these core principles so that we make sure the people we work with have everything they need to succeed. I hope you found this interesting. If you like this kind of stuff, please sign up for my newsletter. I love writing about this. Sign up for a class. I look forward to seeing you soon.